What's the most disrespectful thing a teacher ever did to you? My chemistry teacher made me drink expired milk during a lab because she thought I was lying about being lactose intolerant. I've been severely lactose intolerant since I was 6. Not the, oh, my stomach hurts a little kind. The projectile vomiting, emergency room kind that sends you to the hospital. My parents learned this the hard way when I was little, and they gave me a glass of milk with dinner. 3 hours later, I was in the ER getting IV fluids because I couldn't stop throwing up. Mrs. Whitmore knew this. I had medical documentation filed with the school nurse, a whole thick folder with doctor's notes, emergency contact procedures, the works. My mom had personally walked it to the office during orientation, but Mrs. Whitmore was one of those old school teachers who was convinced that students today were just too soft and made up allergies and conditions for attention. She'd openly mock kids with accommodations, calling them snowflakes who couldn't handle the real world. During our food chemistry unit, she brought in different milk samples to test pH levels and protein content. When I raised my hand and asked to skip handling the dairy products, she rolled her eyes so hard I thought they might fall out. Let me guess, another fake allergy? She said loud enough for the whole class to hear. Several students snickered. I tried explaining my condition again, keeping my voice calm and respectful, but she cut me off mid-sentence. You're going to participate like everyone else, or fail this lab, and failing this lab means failing the semester. She walked over to the supply table and grabbed a carton of milk that looked wrong. The plastic was slightly bloated. There were chunky bits floating in it when she shook it. I glanced at the expiration date. 3 weeks overdue. Drink it, she demanded, shoving the carton toward me. Prove to the class you're not just another lying teenager seeking attention. My lab partner whispered that I didn't have to do this, that I should just go to the principal, but Mrs. Whitmore was already pulling out her gradebook, pen hovering over my name. 0 for the lab, 0 for participation this week. That's a letter grade drop right there. I was a straight A student. I needed this grade for college applications. My hands were shaking as I took the carton. Fine, I'll drink it. 1 sip, that's all it took. The taste hit me immediately. Sour, rancid, like liquid rot. But I'd committed now. Mrs. Whitmore was watching with this satisfied smirk, arms crossed, waiting for me to admit I was faking. Within 2 minutes, my stomach started cramping. Within 5, I was sweating and dizzy. Within 10, I was violently sick all over her desk, her computer, her precious gradebook, everything. But it wasn't just my lactose intolerance this time. The milk was actually spoiled, rotten. I had food poisoning on top of my severe dairy reaction. I collapsed on the classroom floor, convulsing and vomiting until there was nothing left but bile. My lab partner was screaming for someone to call 911 while Mrs. Whitmore just stood there, finally realizing what she'd done. I spent 3 days in the hospital with severe dehydration and electrolyte imbalance. The doctor said if I'd waited any longer to get treatment, my kidneys could have shut down. My parents didn't just complain to the principal this time. They went straight to lawyers and the police. They sued the school district for reckless endangerment and Mrs. Whitmore personally for assault. The school's security footage showed everything. Her forcing me to drink expired dairy despite knowing about my documented medical condition. Her refusing to let me opt out. Her taunting me in front of the class. She was fired before I even got out of the hospital, lost her teaching license permanently. The district settled out of court for enough money to pay for my entire college education, plus medical bills and therapy. But honestly, the best part came later. The day I got discharged from the hospital, my mom got a call from Mrs. Whitmore's husband. Turns out, she'd contracted the same food poisoning from cleaning up my mess without proper protection. She spent 2 days in the same hospital where I'd been treated. Karma tastes pretty sour, doesn't it, Mrs. Whitmore? Now whenever I see spoiled milk in a store, I can't help but smile a little. Some lessons are learned the hard way.